fresh, crusty French baguette is the best bread you can have first thing in the morning, and it only has 5 ingredients. It is so easy to make, and the result is so magical. I just love taking this out of my oven first thing in the morning. If you never made baguette before, I hope you will give this recipe a try, because I assure you that you are going to love this recipe. I baked baguette so many times, and this is by far my very favorite. You can serve this as a side dish for any meal. You can have this with your soup, with your salad, pastas, or you can make any sandwiches with this bread. Soft, pillowy, chewy inside, and that crusty, crunchy outside. Nothing beats a fresh baked baguette, for me at least. Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to share with you all another bread recipe. And you might think it's a lot of work, but it's actually not. You start making your dough, I would say, a day before if you want it to be ready the next day. You make the dough, you keep it in the refrigerator, the next day you just bake it, and you have a perfectly fresh baked baguette. And nothing beats the fresh baked bread, right? It's perfect for any breakfast bread or sandwiches. I don't usually make baguettes very often because you can buy baguettes so easily these days. But being at home these days, and I don't feel like going to the store every time I need some bread, it really gives me a chance to go back to bread baking again. And I just realized how much I love it. I am just going to share with you guys my favorite recipe for baguettes, and I hope that you guys can make it at home and be able to enjoy this bread as well. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the video. I'm going to start by adding my yeast into my warm water. I'm just going to give this a quick mix and set this aside. Into my dry ingredients, I have my bread flour. I am going to add my salt, give this a quick mix, and then I will also add my honey. After I add my honey, I am going to add my yeast and water mixture, and I'm just going to mix this together. This recipe is so easy, you don't even need a mixer. And I've done this so many times. What I usually do is make this a day before if I want to have a nice fresh bread the next day. And I'm just going to use some water to make sure that the dough will not stick into my hands, and I'm just going to give this a quick mix until I have a nice and smooth dough. And then I'm going to wrap this with plastic and set this aside for 1 hour. Depending on how warm is your kitchen counter, this could take an hour to an hour and a half. After about 1 hour and a half, I am going to give this a quick mix using my hand still, and I'm going to just pull the dough up and push it in the middle, and I'm going to do this for a few seconds, as you can see right here. Your dough is gonna be very sticky, but make sure you do not add any extra flour. Go ahead and wrap this up again and set this aside for another 1.5 hours. After about 1.5 hours, I am going to do the same thing, which is pull the dough up and mix it into the middle, and continue to do this for a few seconds again. This process is very important. You want to make sure you do not skip this part, and you're going to do this 3 times. That means you have to let your dough rest for 1.5 hours and do the pulling and folding technique, and you have to do this 3 times like I said. Now I'm going to wrap this up again and let this sit for about 1.5 hours. And after about 1.5 hours, this is my final and last folding of my dough. I'm just going to do exactly the same thing as I did on my first and second time, and I'm going to wrap this up, and then I'm going to refrigerate this overnight. And the next day, first thing I will do is take this out of my refrigerator, and then I am going to then roll my dough. And the dough is not as sticky anymore. I'm going to add a little bit of flour, and I'm just going to fold my dough. As soon as I have my dough, I am going to then cut this into 3 pieces, and I'm going to pre-shape my baguette by just folding it, and I'm going to then roll this out like this, and I'm going to pinch the edges, and I'm going to continue to do this until I have all of my 3 baguettes nice and shaped. Like I said, it's super easy to make this baguette, and I feel like everybody should be able to make this. And then I'm just going to finish shaping my dough, and I'm going to place this in my sheet pan. Make sure that your sheet pan has a lot of flour so you don't want your dough to stick. And I'm just going to wrap this up and set this aside for about an hour again. Feel free to double the recipe if you want to make more than 3 baguettes. After about 1 hour, I'm ready to finally do my final shaping of my baguette. To shape my baguette, I am just going to lightly, working with 1 piece of the dough at a time, I'm going to fold the dough in halfway lengthwise and seal the edges with the heel of my hand. I'm going to just flatten it slightly and fold it slightly again, and then I'm going to make sure that the seams are down. I am going to gently roll the dough into a log about 14 to 15 inches long, and I'm going to just set this aside until I finish rolling the rest of my baguette. While I'm working on my dough, I already have my oven preheated at 450 degrees. I'm just going to finish this up, and I'm going to let this set again for about 30 to 35 minutes for final proofing. For final proofing, I'm just going to use my kitchen towel. You can also use parchment paper, or you can just place it in your sheet pan. That will work as well. And I'm just going to cover this up with another kitchen towel and set this aside for about 35 minutes before I bake it. And while my dough is proofing, I am go ahead and preheat my oven to 450 degrees. And after about 35 minutes, my dough is finally ready to go into the oven. I will then transfer my dough into my sheet pan. I have salpats on, but you can also use just parchment paper. I'm going to just roll this out slowly, and I'm going to make 4 slashes into my baguette using my sharp blade. You can also use just a sharp knife, and this is ready to go into the oven. Now my oven is preheated at 450 degrees. I am going to then add boiling water underneath, and this is going to help create that nice crunchy texture of your baguette. Go ahead and place your baguette and bake this for 20 minutes only. As soon as you have your baguettes inside the oven, go ahead and give it a quick spray of water as well. After 20 minutes, I am going to turn my baguettes to make sure that I have it all evenly cooked on both sides. And this is only going to take about 6 to 7 minutes. Make sure you don't go anywhere. The total cooking time of my baguette is about 26-27 minutes. And there you have it, perfectly cooked baguettes. Now let's go ahead and take it out of the oven. And there you have it, perfectly cooked golden brown baguettes, and it's crunchy, crusty, and I cannot wait to open this bad boy up. I hope you can hear the sound of that bread. Let's go ahead and open this up, and voila, perfect. And now I cannot wait to make a sandwich breakfast for this bread. I am going to just slice up some Gouda cheese, and this is gonna go into my bread. I'm going to just add some butter first. You can see that the butter just start to melt because my bread is still very hot. And then I'm going to add a lot of cheese for my sandwich and cut this in half. You can also eat the whole thing. And then I'm going to also make some Nutella sandwich because, you know, Nutella is perfect with some freshly baked baguettes. And there you have it, perfectly delicious sandwiches. I have one left bread, but I'm just going to show you guys how it looked like. I already know what it tastes like. It tastes amazing, and it's perfect for sandwiches. That's how we like our baguettes. I actually like eating the baguettes just by itself too, without anything, you know, no butter, no nothing, just by itself. It's delicious. And you can see how this is like. Can you hear that? It's crunchy and it's chewy outside. I'm just gonna open this up so you guys can see what it looks like. I baked this this morning, and it's now 11 o'clock. So we already had this for breakfast, but I made the dough yesterday. I keep it in a refrigerator, and this morning I just shape it and bake it. And bam, we have a fresh, nicely baguette. It's crusty outside and it's chewy inside. And look how gorgeous that looks inside. Oh my goodness. Cookies is perfect for any breakfast sandwiches or lunch. I'm going to show you guys. I already tried it, like I said. I'm gonna use this for our maybe a sandwich later on. But that is it for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and let me know down below if you make it and how you like it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all again in my next video. Bye!